Okay, so then for chapter 9, um, okay, so it starts with the riots happening outside, and they have to eat dinner in the den where there are no exterior walls. And she says bullets don't know where they're supposed to go. Basically, being the idea that bullets don't discriminate, right? They don't avoid the innocent. Um, and we could see this as being sort of symbolic in terms of Khalil and Natasha, right? Khalil shouldn't have been shot. He didn't do anything wrong. This didn't stop him from being killed, just as Natasha's innocence didn't prevent her from being killed. In Natasha's case, she was just in the way of where the bullet was supposed to go. So Natasha, in a way, kind of exemplifies this quote. Um, so Star and Seven go to play basketball together, and we see firsthand the tension between Garden Disciples and King Lords. Um, and Star's kind of observing the fact that the Garden Disciples are just young kids trying to act tough. She recognizes a kind of humor in how much they've cultivated this persona, but it's a sad description too, because even though they are just kids sort of pretending at toughness, it doesn't make them any less a part of this world in a real way. Um, okay, and then their father comes home and kind of embarrasses them in front of the gang members. And there's this almost like comical juxtaposition of the dangers of Garden Heights and then just kind of the typical embarrassing family dynamics between a father and his kids. So then when they get home, Star says Daddy crouches beside his roses and examines the petals. He waters them like he's supposed to, but for some reason they're dry looking. So I think we have kind of a metaphor happening here. This idea that you can work so hard to protect something, to help it grow and thrive, but things won't always work out that way. In Maverick, we see this with Maverick. He tries to keep his children safe. He tried to keep Khalil safe, but, some things are beyond our control. And then Star's mother says something that kind of mirrors this in the car on the way to Uncle Carlos's house. She says, sometimes you can do everything right and things will still go wrong. The key is to never stop doing right. This can be applied to the story in a few ways, right? The idea that she tried so hard to keep her children safe, just like Maverick did, but Star still wound up watching both of her best friends get killed. Khalil wanted to make something of himself and get out of Garden Heights, but he still ended up being a victim of his circumstances. Oops. Oh, I think there was one more thing. All right. Well, anyway, the last thing I wanted to talk about for chapter 9 was Uncle Carlos's house. Star says, I used to think the sun shone brighter out here in Uncle Carlos's neighborhood, but today it really does. There's no smoke lingering and the air is fresher. Um, so literally, Carlos lives far away from the riots, far enough that the smoke hasn't reached his neighborhood. Um, and there's a suggestion of her understanding something now that she didn't used to, right? She says, I used to think the sun shone brighter out here. Um, Going to Williamson has also shown her kind of the ugly side of things, right? The forced ignorance of people to what is really going on, you know? The neighborhood is protected from certain realities, right? And this is symbolized by the smoke not reaching them there. And she says, smoke's in the air, the good kind, though. Basically, the idea here that the only smoke in Carlos's neighborhood is smoke from the barbecue. So it emphasizes that idyllic domesticity in contrast to where Star lives, right? There's smoke in both places, but for very different reasons.